is the snake. My father's name is Swanher. Windeher. Windeher. Anyways, my mother's doctor was Dr. Das. Dr. Das. Das is 10. I was told she passed away this year, but I did not see her. Dr. Das is 10. He would doctor the 10 to ensure the control. Dr. Das is a Hindu. His group would have drugged my mother and made her ill for most of her life to control her, as she knew that a 2 was to be offered to me, and she wanted to control rather than have the Indians control. You want some truth? More truth? I will give you some more truth. I was married to my first wife for 1 week. During that week, I remember vividly sitting on the couch in our living room with my mother sitting on the rug beside her, my first wife, Parmjit Dami. My mother began saying that the hand really tells you about the future. She asked me to look at my hand. Although she had looked at it so many times, she wanted to look at my hand. I showed it to her. On the side of the palm of my hand, near the little pinky finger, there are normal creases. She said there are a number of creases on my hand, one little one and one strong one. Oh, she laughed. There's some more. Oh, looks like he gets 2 and more. She enjoyed saying that, I remember. She laughed and she laughed. She then looked at my wife, who was startled. Parmjit became uncomfortable. See, I was not aware of the war taking place between the families that had done the deal to be married to me. My mother, of course, was fully aware how I was being tortured. She launched a subtle attack on Parmjit that she knew that my wife and the people around her, the orchestrators, were making things very difficult for me. You, dear Homo sapiens, deceived and tortured a child, a man, to allocate benefits for yourselves and to steal genes and assets from each other. I did not, of course, believe what my mother said at the time, but it was the truth, and I now know it to be truth. And Parmjit reacted to these comments, and it would explain the short marriage. My mother had told me a story when I was younger of her visit to a palm reader as we were leaving India. She told me that she had had my hand read, and I've always wondered whether the palm reader was correct. She knew, and now I know, he had read my palm correctly. And therefore I can say with certainty, your history is not your history, your news is not your real news, dear Homo sapiens. You do not speak the truth. Everything you, dear Homo sapiens, have designed is an orchestration around the mixing of genes, the allocation of assets and debts for power, for control. This is all the Homo sapien does, nothing more, a pathetic, disgusting species involved in the torturing of its children to justify the benefits when the truth is known and the torturing not necessary. Using technologies to take the terrorism and torture of each other to new levels, creating a prison for itself. Please do not doubt too greatly of what I speak of. See, there's not an incident or significant conversation in my entire life that I cannot link to your orchestration, to the war of the families, to terrorism. I was designed to be a weapon for the Asians, the Mongoloids, and the British aligned to keep control of Canada and ultimately the world. That is the truth, dear Homo sapiens. Weapon, weapon, you doubt me? We, A, P, on. We, this, that, P, on. A weapon is something you wanted to own and use. We wanted to pee on it. When dogs pee, they identify their territory. You, dear Homo sapiens, wanted to pee on me and control me. You wanted me to be a weapon. Ha, 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 ha. You're so evil. The British are guilty of treason. The Queen guilty of treason, permitting the Sikhs and the Indians and Mongoloids to attempt to take control. Her resignation is demanded immediately. Her guilt quite clear. Her 60-year reign designed to ensure that she could keep part control, thus permitting and providing stability to the Asians and Indians while they come. Dear Homo sapiens, I've demanded her resignation and I want it immediately. More delay will result in more greater punishment for your species. Dear Homo sapiens, do understand it's over. Thousands of years of abuse, of terrorism is coming to an end. Everything that you stole comes back to the one. A new cycle begins as the Mayan calendar turns all leaders to resign their positions and their positions to not be refilled. The Pope comes off and stays off. It's over. It's over. He's an actor, a joke. You love it. You love to joke. Do you now understand why I've been asking and demanding the resignation of Queen Elizabeth for some time? It's over for her. Remember, during World War II, the Sikhs became very close to the British Empire, and since then, my birth has been planned for generations in advance. Your lives are fictions planned generations in advance, and then the rest is just a movie being played. You do this to control the breeding and the allocation of assets. In the process, your flaws result in the creation of a garbage species. Most of it physical garbage and virtually all of it mental garbage. Glorifying fictions is all you do. I understand you want to test me also. If I was who I am, I should be able to survive your orchestrations. But the problem is you do not know how to stop your orchestrations against me. There's no end to your evil. You do not know of any other way. On April 17, 2013, I went to purchase a Starbucks coffee. I asked for an Americano. A male employee came up to the counter where I was ordering for a female employee. He said Starbucks would not take the order because of my attitude to him the other day. I told him a basic rule of sales is the customer is always right. The other day, this white male employee had tried to force me to accept him opening the door for me. If I accepted him helping me to open the door based on the rules of these fictions being played in Vancouver, he, the white male with nasty mongoloid genes, would get some rewards. So I told him to get away from me, and I waited till he permitted the door to shut before I opened it and left without his assistance. I told him as I was leaving to not fuck with me, considering he knows who I am. He knows I know of his mind games. He insisted he had the right to his activities. I left. Dear Homo sapiens, you do not have the right to terrorize. You do not have the right to your activities because you think you need to be rewarded and ultimately cleansed. You do not have that right. In the end, I had to go to another Starbucks to buy my Americano on the 17th of April, as he nor the female employee would serve me. This is the issue. I'm a homeless man with a gold Starbucks card with employees demanding rewards at my expense as I pay and I pay and I pay. When does Starbucks, the commercial fiction, ever pay the homeless customer who holds a gold card? See, your fictional world of rewards is for you, Homo sapien slaves, to justify benefits for yourself. Starbucks, like all other corporations, does not pay the tortured children, but instead is feeding the mongoloid gene holders for the benefits of the growth of the corporation. If a corporation wants to grow rapidly and internationally, it ends up providing benefits to large and undesirable mongoloid gene holders, then those employees then commit terrorism on tortured children in order to cleanse and receive rewards. And so large corporations have been stealing for entire lifetimes, and thus they're guilty of creating a population that is 70 to 90% unacceptable for breeding purposes. Hence, capitalism has not worked. The rise of the one is necessary. Quality, not quantity, is to take precedent in the future. Let's give you another truth. Another example of that evil thing that all of you do, those terrorist activities. You've been terrorizing me in many forms for my entire life, in the form of physical, mental, financial, and sexual abuse. My previous videos has outlined some of the terrorist behavior from teachers, children, and adults since grade school. Here's some more truth to help you better understand that thing you do. During my first year at the University of Waterloo in Ontario, after graduating from North Delta Senior Secondary School, grade 12, I stayed at a house with rooms for rent in Waterloo, about 6 rooms, I believe, on Herb Street, Waterloo, Ontario. Of course, since my life is a complete orchestration, the roommates all meet the same criteria met by all my friends. Similar attitudes, similar mannerisms. 2 white males with nasty mongoloid genes, 1 cleansed male renting the room beside me, 1 undesirable woman, and 1 blonde, almost a blonde bombshell, though big-boned, of course, since you were still not offering me the skinny jeans to me. True, isn't it? She was from the Caribbean. What did you do? As I look back, knowing that thing you do, the orchestrations, the mind games you filthy Homo sapiens play, all designed to mingle and mix your genes, allocate assets, I am disgusted by your conduct. The students tortured me all year long. blocked any relationships, isolated me. You played football. That year I have no recollection of meeting any lady except those two. That is sure a lot of blocking. It's a big university. You do love your sports, don't you? That's football, isn't it? You're a fuck-up. It's called a homo sapien. As the year ended, a year-end party was planned at the house. Towards the end of the year, the blonde I thought was beautiful, but we never really connected beyond a shallow friendship relationship, and now I know why, because you all and she was testing me. Rather than making real friends, she, like all of you, played your game. That night at the end of the party, at the end of the year, she asked me to go with me to my room. Wow, I was not going to refuse. This was definitely a first, and so I did not say no. We entered my room, which was on the street level, while her room was on the third floor. I sat on my bed and she sat beside me. As we began talking, there was a loud sound as someone began banging on my door and a person tried to enter. But she had locked my door. The person knocking was one of the male student renters. This is the math student, a hockey player, with very nasty mongoloid genes. He began shouting since he could not enter. The girl, startled, got up and opened the door. I was shocked, as this was weird. He burst in. As soon as the door opened, he grabbed the girl's arm, and I remember very clearly his words, "You cannot do this." She had no relationship with him beyond staying in the same house. She tried not to leave, but the boy is very persistent. I remember her whimpers. It haunts me to this day. She said, "I was just trying to help." She left my room. I was in shock, as I thought another male would have been happy that I had a lady in my room. Normally you would think guys would cheer the other guys on. Is that not what you fictional television programs promote? Boys cheering boys on?